What up, my goats? My name's Tote, and welcome back to the channel. I, if I did not believe that the Lord works in mysterious ways, I would after what happened to me yesterday. So, just to give you a little bit of backstory, this week I had a good friend of mine, Ben Noli. His vehicle got stolen, and not a good situation, no matter who you are. But he just started his first job, and it's a teenage guy, and so it sucks. And so this week on Tuesday night, I actually heard him, telling us how this whole thing had happened, and he has a new vehicle, but his parents are looking for it, and it's a situation. And so Wednesday, after our Tuesday night small group, Wednesday morning, I wake up. And have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up and you realize you're late? Like you should be there now, wherever you're going that day. Well, I woke up and I had that feeling of just, I am late. I should be there now. Well, the only thing that I really had going on in the near future was story time at the park that I do with another friend that I go to church with. And what I do with story time in the park is I provide animals for the kids to interact with from the stories they're reading. So this month is turtle themed, and so I was taking my turtle to story time in the park. And so I woke up and I was like, I'm late for story time. So I get my turtle, I get in the car, my dog goes everywhere I go, and so we're in the car and we are headed down the highway to town to do story time in the park. And I get there, and it's like maybe a minute late, like maybe right on time, but I see her, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I have a turtle." Like, what do you think I'm doing with a turtle in the park? And she was like, "That's tomorrow." And I just yeah, 100%. Like, mind you, for the last 30 minutes to an hour, I have just 100% been like, it's now. I need to be there now. And so just my entire morning was just like, what? And I don't do that. I am not that type of person. In fact, I can remember the last time I showed up somewhere at the wrong time or the wrong date. And it was literally 7 years ago. So it's significant that happens, and kind of keep that in mind, because there's a lot of timing things that happen in this story that are just God's perfect timing. Okay, being available for Him where you are when you're there. And so anyhow, so I leave and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll just take my turtle elsewhere. So there is a friend of mine that I was best friends with, in all through our 20s, and I haven't been able to see her or my godson in I would say 2 months. I mean, I feel horrible about it, and I've just been trying to make time, and it just didn't seem to line up with what she had going on, and so I called her. She lives 2 blocks from this park, and so I called her. I was like, hey, I'm in town. I don't have anything going on, I'll bring lunch over to your house if you want. And so she's like, yeah. And she loves a fast food chain. I don't know what I'll say. So she loves a fast food chain. So I was like, I'll just grab us some burgers from there. I'll be there in a few. And so I get to the fast food chain, and it's 30 minutes before they start serving lunch. And so I see that. I'm like, oh man, you're only serving breakfast. And so this fast food chain's like, oh, we'll serve you whatever we want, wherever you want. We'll just have to cook it, so you'll have to wait. What do you want? Okay. So that's not something that fast food chains do, but okay. Sounds good. They're all completely understaffed, but they'll make me a custom order this one time. So I order our burgers, and I have to pull around. I'm in the drive-thru. I have to pull around. So I'm sitting there in the front of the restaurant, windows down because of the dog, because I've dog and turtle are still with me. And this little lady comes out of this restaurant, and she's like, my window's down, and she goes, "Do you mind if I use the hood of your vehicle? The pavement's getting slick." Because it was raining, like sprinkling. And so I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just in a good mood. I've just, I wasn't super late. I was actually a full day early. I'm getting to go hang out with my friends. So I hop out of the vehicle and help the little lady to her vehicle. And we got to have a wonderful conversation, and she was telling me about all the stuff that was going on. You could tell that, it probably made her day, and I just love that type of thing. Like, that just makes me just, 10 times higher than I usually am. And so, like, so I get back in the car, I'm talking to my friend, I'm headed to her house, you got our food, and I pull into her apartment complex, and there sits Ben's car. And I'm like, I've got to call you back. And so I'm immediately on the phone with him and his mom and getting the information for the vehicle. I used to repo cars, so I was kind of familiar with, like, oh, I need a VIN number, let me check it, and so as I took a picture to, like, be like, hey, is this yours? And I see that the driver's side door is drilled out. And I'm like, pretty sure that's stolen. So I get the VIN number. They switched the tags even. So I get the VIN number, and it's, sure enough, it's their vehicle. And so I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm at. I call the cops. I'm like, here we go. This is what's up. Which the cops were like, oh, all right. We'll see you in a little bit, I guess. So, but we wait for the cops to get there. They kind of clear the vehicle, and they're like, yeah, you're lucky that you got your vehicle back. So anything that's in the vehicle is now yours because we don't care. And so they take the vehicle back to their house, and I hung out with them for the couple of hours it took for the police to get there and, make sure everything's all right, because we don't want some guy coming out or something. So anyhow, as they're going through the vehicle, there's like normal vehicle stuff, and then there's a Bigfoot costume. So in my mind, that Bigfoot costume, because it was like tools, but it was like burglary tools, and like a hose. So I'm like thinking siphon gas, So, like, the Bigfoot costume has to be part of the set, So I'm thinking they wear that when they're stealing cars, because then any call into 911 to report a burglary, like, just gets thrown out, because they're like, yeah, someone's breaking into my car. It's Bigfoot. Anyhow, guys, the point of the video, it was wonderful. I was so happy to be able to be used and serve like I was able to yesterday. It just absolutely made my day, waiting for the police with them and being able to find the vehicle and all the things that happened. So when you don't always know when it's going to happen, but always be available. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, make sure that you're open to being used by the Lord. And so, anyhow, that's my story, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. Until next time, guys, catch you on the flip side.